Hi.
Hi.
So I have this assignment for my apologetics class to analyze a quote from Penn Jillette. And pretty much the question is, there's a confusion between whether morality necessarily preludes or reward. In the view of obedience to the conscience and moral law, this is the final cause of man. How does this assist us in answering Mr. Jillette? And the quote is, only atheists have morals. The religious have reward and punishment. That's not morality. That's sucking up. And I was just wondering, if you do agree with the quote, how would you defend it?
Hold on. I'm Googling it so I can read it.
But go ahead. I'll say quickly that I don't fully agree with the quote, but I haven't talked to Penn about this specific quote. I think if I listen charitably, I basically would agree with Penn, because what we have from most religions is the sort of carrot and stick thing. And the example that I've used before is if you go out to dinner and you have two kids that you brought with you and they're being disruptive, and you tell one of them that if they're good, they're going to get dessert. And if they're bad, then they're going to get a spanking. Well, if you say that, you're already terrible, because we shouldn't be hitting people, especially little people. But in any case, you've got one of them that you've now given a carrot and stick to, essentially. And if you take the other one and you sit that one down and say, look, imagine you were sitting at a table and trying to have a conversation and eat a meal, and someone like you was running around being a disturbance in there. How would you feel? When you take those kids back to the restaurant, they're both going to behave. But which one is going to behave even when mom and dad aren't there? And that, to me, is kind of like what Penn's talking about, that yes, you can motivate people to do good with threats. You can motivate people to do good with rewards. But you can also motivate people to do good with empathy by pointing out doing good for its own sake. And I think to whatever extent Penn was, and I don't want to speak for Penn, but I think that's basically what he was reaching for. And in that sense, I do agree, but I wouldn't want to make a blanket statement like, no religious people have morals. That's not true. If that's the way the quote is being spun, I definitely disagree with that. It's just, I don't think that they have a superior moral foundation. I think it's actually inferior. Oh yeah.
Last thing on that is, I would say, even for people who are religious, their morals don't come from the books. The books are justifications for a moral framework that existed outside of that book.
And this last little point, Tori, and then you can get back to asking questions or letting us know how it helped, is one interesting thing is that in much the same way that like a Baptist and a Catholic may not agree on everything, and two Catholics may not agree on everything, and two Baptists may not agree, it's entirely possible for two atheists not to agree on everything. There are certain things, I mean, David and I are largely in a line here, but I think there are some subtle things about our moral views that might be different. But sure. I hope we've at least been able to kind of answer your question about Penn's quote, because I've heard that quote from him. I've heard many quotes from him. So hopefully that was helpful.
It was. Thank you.